Then we move on to chapter 11, miscellaneous. What is miscellaneous? This is a word that I find very difficult to spell. Miscellaneous. Okay. So these are additional items, that I think you should be able to know, and they are part of our employee handbook. Internal communication. At Jollof Events, we believe in free and open communication among our members. Every staff member is required to have an active email, and WhatsApp account. Okay, you should. Sometimes you have simple phone, in others you don't have WhatsApp. But you should, if you don't have WhatsApp, they rely on your coworkers to update you with latest stuff, and also you can tell your co-workers to help you, put messages for the company. All right. When you want to tell remember, when you want to tell the company something, you do not call the CEO or somebody else. You have to write it down through our WhatsApp group chats or send it through email. All right. All announcements and memos are sent primarily on WhatsApp group chats and on certain occasions, email. Okay, just know that memos. Even at schools nowadays, even like when you go there, you will see notice board and they will put their information for students. And but now with technology, we all do that. Online. But it's very important. We don't have a notice board where we put their information. Everything is communicated via our WhatsApp group chat, and I think it is Team Jollof, which is our main group chat, and also like sometimes email. We communicate via email. That's why you are supposed to have an email. I've talked about it. Our WhatsApp group chat serve as our notice boards. Okay, do not send a direct message to admin unless it is highly confidential. It's a highly confidential. I just mentioned it also. Do not send a private message to me or to admin. Okay, everything post it on our group chat. Okay, if you have any message or announcement, especially when it is related to attendance, you must share it to our main group chat, that is Team Jollof. Okay, so that both admin and your colleagues can be notified. Let's say if you are going to be absent tomorrow. Okay, don't call the CEO or anybody else telling them that I cannot come tomorrow. No, you have to post it on our group chat that you are not going to come tomorrow, so that everyone is going to be notified. Your colleagues they are going to prepare for life without you. Okay, and that is going to reduce the workload of the admin. So that the admin will have to say it, blah blah, and all this stuff. Okay. If you do not have access to WhatsApp or email, then you must tell someone or a colleague to share it to share the message on your behalf. Remember, we've talked about this as well. Okay, there shall be no excuse for lack of communication, regardless of your circumstances. Let me tell you this: no excuse whatsoever is allowed. For lack of communication. Don't say that I was very very sick or my phone fell down. In a pothole, like blah blah. They stole my whatever. Okay, know that. That's why you should always have somebody on standby, that will notify the company for anything that happens to you, regardless. Okay. So email, how do we treat email? Okay. So you may decide to correspond with the company via your personal email account or create a Jollof Events branded email account. Okay. Sometimes you have your own email account. Like my email account is like Mukhtar official, and but I have a Jollof Events email, which is mukhtar.jollof@gmail.com. And so here is, you are highly encouraged to use a Jollof Event branded email account in order to keep your personal email private and secure. Okay, so when you come to Jollof Events, it's advisable you open a Jollof Events email account. Okay, and it is like this: your full name .jollof@gmail.com, e.g. mukhtarjallo.jollof@gmail.com. Okay, hadisise.jollof@gmail. Sometimes you another Mukhtar can be working for the company and they have already taken off Mukhtar Jallo. So you can add their Mukhtar Jallo 1 or let's say hadisise24.jollof@gmail.com. Okay. You shall only use lowercase for your email as well. Don't use any capital letter on your email. All right. Make sure to remember your email and create password that you can remember as well. Okay, you can use your email not only for messaging but also to logging into our cloud software such as Google Sheets, Trello, Canva. We have a lot of cloud software, and you can log in to those software using your Jollof Events email. It's very important. Okay, when you come to Jollof Events, open the email straight away and correspond with the company through the email. So employment types, there are different types of employees. Okay, so let's say number 1 and number 2 are related, and number 3 and number 5 are related. Who is a full-time employee? It's a person who works at least 40 hours per week at job events. Let's say if you work for like 8 days, 5 days a week, and you work 8 hours a week, that is 40 hours. All right, 40 hours. That means that you work 5 days a week, 8 hours a day. Okay, so that is it. Some people, especially some cleaners, for example, they are part-time employees. They only work less than even 20 hours a week. Let's say they come around 8, they leave around 10, they are still part of the job event employees, but they are working less time. They are part of our payroll. We pay their social security and everything, but they don't come as usual as the full-time employees. All right. So what is a fixed term employee? A fixed term employee can be a full-time, can be a part-time employee, okay, whose employment contract with the company expires at a due date. It's a fixed term employee. Okay, fixed term employee, let's say if you come to work at your event, your first year you will have a series of fixed term employment, because like your first month, it can be either 3 months employment contract or 6 months. When that 6 months end, you are expected to leave the company. Okay, like unless the company renews your contract. Anyone who comes to the company will not give you an indefinite contract first. They will give you to test to test you. It can be probationary, and even after your probationary period, the company will give you, like if you start as a sales officer, okay. So like for example, if you start as a sales assistant, for example, okay, your first 6 months will be a fixed term contract, okay. Then if we are satisfied with you, we extend a 3 months contract for you. Then if we are satisfied, we extend another 3 months contract for you, making it all 1 year. Then after 1 year, you become an indefinite employee, meaning that you will not be like, my contract is expiring so date. That means that you will work, you will choose to work for the company forever if you want. There is nothing like my contract expires and so on. Okay. So fixed term contractors are mostly renewed after their due dates. Okay. So indefinite, the other type, the opposite of fixed term employee is an indefinite employee. Okay, this is a full-time or part-time employee whose employment contract does not have an expiry date. Okay, does not have a due date. Okay. Okay, so you automatically become an indefinite employee when you work with the company for more than 12 months. Okay, this is according to the labor laws of the Gambia. And in most countries, if you work after 1 year, the company should give you an indefinite employment, meaning that your contract does not expire. Okay, you can work for the company for as long as you want. There's nothing like in 3 months time my contract will expire, blah 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 blah. Okay, so background checks, okay, and guarantors. Okay, in order to safeguard our human, physical, and intellectual resources, we run background checks on employees and potential employees to determine their suitability for employment. Okay, we make sure that we do not hire criminals, we do not hire like mad people, drug addicts, we do background checks, and in the Gambia, it's very hard to do background checks, So everybody can just go to the police, and just tell them to make a criminal record for you. You pay them 300 and come. So we will not know exactly. Sometimes we might ask friends and go to your house and see. So background checks is very important. We may do that. Okay, so background checks include, calling references, criminal records, visiting your home, interviewing close friends and relatives, okay, to know what your background is like. Okay, we also require assurance from a guarantor. Anyone who works for Jollo events must have a guarantor who will take responsibility and indemnify or pay the company for any loss in court as a result of fraud, negligence, or any liability by the employee should the need arise. Okay, the reason why we take a guarantor is that, sometimes we can employ somebody and they run away with our money and go to back way, for example. Okay, we will go straight to person who guaranteed them. Okay, here you are, give us our money. If you don't give us our money, we'll send you to court. All right, and you will give us our money, like, because you will sign a document. Every employee who works with the company will require somebody to guarantee them, and that guarantor will sign a document. We have a guarantor form, okay, where you will sign, where your guarantor will sign. Okay, your guarantor must be a Gambian between the ages of 35 and 60 and should only be a close relative or a guardian. You cannot just carry any random person in the street and say that they can be your guarantor. No, they have to be somebody close to you. All right. So the handbook acknowledgement form. Okay, we have a handbook acknowledgement form. It's like this. This is where you acknowledge that, yep, you have read and understand the handbook, and then, yep, that's it. Everything applies. Okay. The Jollof Events Employee Handbook is designed to familiarize you with the company and provide you with information about working conditions, employee benefits, and some of the policies affecting your employment. Okay. Number two here, we want to ensure that our company culture, guidelines, and policies remain up to date, okay, compliant with relevant laws, and are constantly understood and adhered by all employees. The reason why I'm shooting this video is because this is written down. You can go and read it, but I'm making this video so that you can better understand these points. Okay, you know, in the Quran, for example, you have the Quran, the translation, and the tafsir. The tafsir explains, you know, what the certain, like we all know that Bismillah means in the name of Allah, but tafsir will tell you that Allah has 99 names and so on and so forth. So this is like I'm just making more elaboration on what is just written in the handbook. Okay. Jala events will conduct periodic revisions. You know, this is not as perfect as the Quran or the Bible. Okay. So we will conduct periodic revisions on the handbook to ensure that they align with current legislation, employment trends, and company values. All right. You are encouraged to provide feedback. Sometimes you can see certain things in the handbook, and so you give feedback at any time. Okay. If you identify inconsistencies, errors, or areas that require clarification, you can promptly notify the CEO or management. Number 5, any significant changes made on the employee handbook will be communicated to all employees in a timely notice. Okay. Sometimes there might be changes in the handbook and you do not sign it because you say that you do not want to sign it because you do not accept certain conditions or provisions. If the company says now everybody should come to work at 7, you can say, I do not accept that. Okay, and you do not sign the new handbook acknowledgement form. Okay, and you know it's very important. Like when the company tells you to do something that you did not agree before even working, you can resign. That is called constructive dismissal. When you resign, you can tell the company to pay you like for 3 months of salary when you resign, and so that is called severance. Okay, so it's very important to note that as well. You know, that's why the company will make sure it does everything possible to make sure that, you know, no changes will affect like employees to an extent of they will resign. Okay. All right. So we ensure that employment policies meet the minimum labor laws of the Gambia. Okay, because like no matter how much what the policy, no matter how perfect this handbook is, okay, if it is in contradiction with the labor laws of the Gambia, the labor laws of the Gambia trumps everything else. Okay, just like we mentioned in like when there is a conflict between two staff, the company look at who has a more senior position. Okay, so when there is a conflict between the labor laws of the Gambia and the employee handbook, Jollof Events employee handbook, the labor laws of the Gambia is always win. All right, so that's why for me, like I'm the one who made most of this handbook. So you know, I make sure that they are in line with the minimum labor laws of the Gambia, because if there is in conflict with the labor laws of the Gambia, the labor laws win. All right. So severability. What is severability? This is a legal term. Okay. If any portion of the handbook is found to be void by law, it shall be struck from the record, and the remaining provisions will retain their full effect. Okay. What this means is that, you know, okay, in the handbook, certain portion might not, like the labor laws, or like may say that, you know, XYZ chapter is wrong. You should not apply it. So that does not mean the entire handbook should be disregarded. If XYZ chapter is wrong, or XYZ provision is wrong, then that means that the other provisions will hold their full value. Okay, full value. Okay, it's very important to note that as well. You cannot disregard the entire handbook just because of one or two things are wrong there, and you say that, you know, the entire handbook is wrong. Okay, you must sign against your name in any version of the employee handbook through the employee handbook. So here, for example, you must come here and sign against your name. Like for example, if there is a new handbook, and you know, so I should acknowledge the form by the handbook by just signing here. Let's say I put here my name, Mukhtar Jalo. Okay, and I put here what is my position. I am the CEO. Okay, and what is the date? Let's say the date that I am signing it today is like 15th of July 07 2025, and I append my signature here. Okay, so I append my signature. So everybody else must sign to indicate that, you know, they have read and understood the handbook, because this handbook is the Quran and the Bible of the company. Okay, If anything happens, okay, I'm going to say, okay, this is in the handbook and you did not respect it. That means that you did not respect the values of the company. You are not compliant. Remember, the company, we expect you to be compliant with this handbook. You know, all right. You can if you want, don't comply with the rules of our communities and others. But this handbook, you must comply with it 100%, 100%. Okay, all right. So failure to adhere to all the contents of the employee handbook may lead to discipline action, including termination of employment. So this is the acknowledgement handbook acknowledgement form. Is just an example there. So appendix. Further reading. Okay, I encourage you to read the acknowledgement form, to read the Jollof Way. We have a whole book, okay, which is similar to the employee handbook, which goes into further detail explaining what the company is all about and our philosophy, okay, how we think about things and all this stuff. The attendance form as well, everybody will have access to the attendance form. You are expected to look at it. An employee complaint form, we've covered most of the forms here. And the job event organizational structure, this shows our organograms, various functions and their responsibilities, requirements. Okay, read the label of the Gambia. I don't know why employees. This label is meant to protect employees. Most of us are employed. We will be employed. Like I am the owners of Jollof Events, okay, but I am employed in the company, so I should know my rights. Okay, I can one day go and work for somebody else. I can be employed by somebody else. So that means that if I have already read the labels, I know my rights. So everybody is expected to know their rights, every employee. Okay, and most of the labels are the same. If you know your rights here, it's going to be the same in Senegal. Similarly, women act, if you are a woman as well, the labor law and the woman act, they are similar. So all these things are guiding like women at the workplace, like in the labor law, in the women's act, you will find out that it's if when you deliver and you are working at a company, your company should pay you for 6 months. 6 months straight away. If they are paying you 10,000 and you deliver a baby for 6 months, that is like 60,000. They should pay you that $60,000, and you come back, your position is guaranteed, nothing has changed, you continue your work. All right, so that's it for the employee handbook. All right,